What is going on, guys? Postgrad Dom coming at you today with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to get a job. Now you may ask me, why do we need a video on how to get a job? Well, it's not as simple as applying online. You go on, you click, and you hope you get the job, because more than likely than not, your application's going into a deep black hole of you're never going to hear anything. So it's super fun. Now, this video can be applicable to if you're in high school, you're in college, you're a post-grad, you're in the middle of a career transition, or you're a 65-year-old man trying to become a Walmart greeter. Props to you, because that seems like the best job ever. You just check people out. Anyway, number one, the first thing you need to know on how to get a job is have an idea of what kind of job you want to get. Now, I mentioned the 65-year-old guy that wants to be a Walmart greeter. He's a man with a plan. He knows what he wants to do. But you got to figure it out. So some ways to identify what you want to do are, what are you passionate about? What do you see yourself doing every day? Waking up 8, going to work 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. What do you see yourself doing? Now, if you can't see yourself doing that job, I probably would recommend you don't apply unless you really need the job, because you're going to be miserable, and nothing's worse than going to work every day and, well, being miserable. It's just not a good time. So number two is know what you're good at. Now, you may be super passionate about being an astronaut, but if you're not good at science and you don't really like going to space, probably not the career for you. So I'd probably say don't do that, and figure out what are you good at. If you're great with talking to people, go into an industry where you're going to get to talk to people. If you're just looking for a quick job, well, apply anywhere, because I mean, you're just looking for a quick job. Now, if you're trying to build a career, really understand what are you good at and how are you going to excel in that. Number two, building a resume. Now, why is building a resume important? Well, the resume is kind of like the key to almost get you in the door, but it doesn't get you in the door. But the resume is a perfect snapshot of who you are at that current point in time, like who you are on paper. So what's your education, what's your job experience, what extracurricular activities are you involved in? It really lets an employer look at you quickly and see, do I want to hire this person, or do I even want to give this person a chance? So tailoring your resume to the job at hand is huge. Now, let's say you're applying for a job that requires more numbers and analytics. Well, in that resume, you're going to want to sprinkle in a little bit of more numbers. Now, if you're a little bit more creative, applying for something marketing, then you're going to want to sprinkle in some creativity there. And that really will set you apart from the other people applying using vanilla resumes. Now, when I was applying for jobs, I would tailor every resume I have towards the job at hand. If I was applying for like a real estate firm, I would, highlight my real estate experience compared to if I was applying to just a regular finance firm, where I would tailor it to that firm's strategy. That is one of the most important things you need to know when delivering a resume to a potential employer, is you got to make yourself stand out. So doing little things like that will show that you're taking initiative. And most employers know what you're doing, but it doesn't matter, because you still have that experience and you should be able to talk about it. So that's just a little bit of a way to help you get into the door, to almost unlock the door. Number three, networking. Why is networking important? Well, networking might give you the opportunity to meet someone you haven't met before that is in the industry that you want to work in, or in your network, you might know someone that is actually doing what you want to do. So ways to improve your networking skills, or just how to network in general, is start small. Start with who's around you. Who are your parents? Who do they know? Who are your friends? Who do they know? They might know someone that is hiring or works at the same company you want to work for. So starting off there. Now, let's say you don't know anyone, you're trying to get into an industry that your family and friends are really not familiar with. That's common. So you go to the next best thing, your alumni network. Now, most schools have an alumni network that can really be beneficial, but even then, some alumni networks aren't as strong as other schools. Now, so you go to the next layer. You go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn will let you look up people from any company pretty much any company. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can look people up, connect with them, reach out to them, see if they have like 5 minutes of their time to kind of talk to you about what they do. Now, number one thing when you are networking is you are not trying to get something out of them. Networking is about building relationships. So when you're building these relationships, you want to make sure that you're learning about them, you're showing interest in them, and then you're also highlighting some things about yourself that will make that person you're networking with remember you when the time comes for a job or a potential introduction to someone that is hiring for a job. Now, networking is a long game that you're really gonna want to be careful with, because if you play it wrong, it might not pay dividends, but more likely than not, as long as you treat people how you would want to be treated, it will pay dividends in the end. Number 4, understand this is going to be a process. You are not going to apply to a job and right now go on your computer in 20 minutes and find some people, reach out to them, connect, and you're going to get a job. No, it's not going to work that way. This is going to be a process that might take a little bit of time, might take months, but you might apply to hundreds of different companies and not hear anything back at all. But you can't let that discourage you. When it comes to applying for different jobs, you have to understand the circumstance at hand. There are hundreds of other people that are applying for the same job you are. So what's going to make you different? Why is that company going to hire you? So you got to keep those things churning in the back of your head, and you got to adapt to the situation at hand. And these tips are going to get you the interview. The interview is a whole nother battle in how to get a job, but for the most part, getting to the interview is most of the challenge. Now, one last thing to tell you guys is, remember, it just takes one person to say yes to you. You might have 200 no's, 100 no's, but that one company, that one interview you get could lead to a yes, and that could be huge for your whole career, for that moment. So just remember to stay positive, and remember, one yes. But guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you like it, please leave a comment, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys. All right, have a good one.